we now have enough we have over a year's worth of cash on hand.
A significant thing right now with this runway, since I came on board just under 3 years ago, our runway has never been more than 4 to 6 months. And we would be running the business, but then we'd have to try to do the capital raising as well. So, we got to the point here where with the investors that wanted to invest in the company, and then with the stock price appreciation and the amount of cash we were able to get, we now have that runway that's over a year, which is really good for us from long-term planning and execution. We're looking to get to this point where we could have that inflection of we got enough cash to get us to profitability, and then from there we can start taking care of it with our own cash flow from operations.
That's beautiful. Saying that just Baltimore could be millions of dollars. We're talking about, and by the way, we didn't even get to the fact that you're pilot testing in New York City. Baltimore, Hong Kong, Irvine, compared to your current revenue run rate, I mean, these are potentially huge inflection points that can really take your company to a comfortable profitability level. I can't wait for all this to play out. I mean, am I wrong to be this excited, Joel?
No, we're very excited about it because it's the one thing that everyone has to realize is that they want to do their own pilot programs and see that. I'll just read you the quote that we got back this week. It says, "We are seeing less activity in a week than we used to see every day." And so what they're finding is this is a Chicago major theme park that we cannot name. That's probably one of the largest in the world. Actually started testing the product last November. They stopped by our booth at Pest World and said, we would like to try this out. And so we made sure that they got a couple of pails of the product. And then happy to report that they just started putting it into full-scale implementation where they ordered a pallet and a half of product initially. That's another exciting thing is we just had the groundbreaking, well, it's not groundbreaking, it was the ribbon cutting ceremony for our new facility in Surprise, Arizona. So that's on our website, check that out. We've automated our line so that human hands do not, once the ingredients are put in the mixer, human hands really don't touch it again. It goes through the manufacturing process into the pouches of the pails, and then it's packaged. So we're really excited about that. That increases our capacity by 25% by just doing that.
Here's the stat for the day. Just remember this. 2 rats can become 15,000 in 1 year.
Wow.
So with this product, you can, by limiting the population, you can really reduce the economic losses.
What's the opportunity here for investors?
Well, I think that there's many opportunities here, and the inflection points, there's many inflection points because now we have a product that is able to be used throughout distribution and retail and international distribution. So that's the number one. We were able to get an order from New York City in December that we'll be shipping out to them in April. New York City, we recently got an order from Baltimore. We're starting to see some penetration into the municipal, the city, the governmental market. We have some really big pilot projects that are going on in some of the agricultural areas, poultry production, egg production, sugarcane and other row crop production, as well as grain management. We're able to get onto Amazon, and so you can buy our products on Amazon, Evolve Mouse, SNES, go there. We were able to get onto Walmart.com 60 days ago, roughly.
Oh, really?
Yes. So on Walmart.com, and just last week we were on TractorSupply.com, which is key for us in that ag sector. We think that will then lead into being able to get into the brick and mortar portion of that with Tractor Supply and Walmart. So we think long term that the retail part of that is going to be a big channel for us. This is now a global product. We have 10 exclusive distributors that are around the globe, places like Hong Kong and Singapore and the Netherlands. And we're starting to get orders there, and we're in discussions with about another 20 different international.
What are you most excited about? What's going to be your inflection here in the year 2025?
I'm excited about our international opportunities because we did a lot of legwork in 2024, getting the distributors set up, getting the product approved in those countries. I think we're going to continue to really grow our e-commerce business, being on all of the major e-tailers.
We now have enough we have over a year's worth of cash money in hand.
A significant thing right now with this runway, since I came on board just under 3 years ago, our runway has never been more than 4 to 6 months. And we would be running the business, but then we'd have to try to do the capital raising as well. So, we got to the point here where with the investors that wanted to invest in the company, and then with the stock price appreciation and the amount of cash we were able to get, we now have that runway that's over a year, which is really good for us from long-term planning and execution. We're looking to get to this point where we could have that inflection of we got enough cash to get us to profitability, and then from there we can start taking care of it with our own cash flow from operations.
That's beautiful. Saying that just Baltimore could be millions of dollars. We're talking about, and by the way, we didn't even get to the fact that you're pilot testing in New York City. Baltimore, Hong Kong, Irvine, compared to your current revenue run rate, I mean, these are potentially huge inflection points that can really take your company to a comfortable profitability level. I can't wait for all this to play out. I mean, am I wrong to be this excited, Joel?
No, we're very excited about it because it's the one thing that everyone has to realize is that they want to do their own pilot programs and see that. I'll just read you the quote that we got back this week. It says, "We are seeing less activity in a week than we used to see every day." And so what they're finding is this is a Chicago major theme park that we cannot name. That's probably one of the largest in the world. Actually started testing the product last November. They stopped by our booth at Pest World and said, we would like to try this out. And so we made sure that they got a couple of pails of the product. And then happy to report that they just started putting it into full-scale implementation where they ordered a pallet and a half of product initially. That's another exciting thing is we just had the groundbreaking, well, it's not groundbreaking, it was the ribbon cutting ceremony for our new facility in Surprise, Arizona. So that's on our website, check that out. We've automated our line so that human hands do not, once the ingredients are put in the mixer, human hands really don't touch it again. It goes through the manufacturing process into the pouches of the pails, and then it's packaged. So we're really excited about that. That increases our capacity by 25% by just doing that.
Here's the stat for the day. Just remember this. 2 rats can become 15,000 in 1 year.
Wow.
So with this product, you can, by limiting the population, you can really reduce the economic losses.
What's the opportunity here for investors?
Well, I think that there's many opportunities here, and the inflection points, there's many inflection points because now we have a product that is able to be used throughout distribution and retail and international distribution. So that's the number one. We were able to get an order from New York City in December that we'll be shipping out to them in April. New York City, we recently got an order from Baltimore. We're starting to see some penetration into the municipal, the city, the governmental market. We have some really big pilot projects that are going on in some of the agricultural areas, poultry production, egg production, sugarcane and other row crop production, as well as grain management. We're able to get onto Amazon, and so you can buy our products on Amazon, Evolve Mouse, SNES, go there. We were able to get onto Walmart.com 60 days ago, roughly.
Oh, really?
Yes. So on Walmart.com, and just last week we were on tractorsupply.com, which is key for us in that ag sector. We think that will then lead into being able to get into the brick and mortar portion of that with Tractor Supply and Walmart. So we think long term that the retail part of that is going to be a big channel for us. This is now a global product. We have 10 exclusive distributors that are around the globe, places like Hong Kong and Singapore and the Netherlands. And we're starting to get orders there, and we're in discussions with about another 20 different international.
What are you most excited about? What's going to be your inflection here in the year 2025?
I'm excited about our international opportunities because we did a lot of legwork in 2024, getting the distributor set up, getting the product approved in those countries. I think we're going to continue to really grow our e-commerce business, being on all of the major e-tailers.
All right, welcome everyone to Story Trading. We will be covering the SNES Tech conference call live stream here in 15 minutes at 5 p.m. SNES Tech reported earnings just a little bit ago. Let me pull that up here so we can see how they did. Just 1 second. Oh, it's not on there. I gotta get it from Benzinga. From Benzinga Pro over here. It's not on Yahoo Finance for some reason. There it is, Benzinga Pro. All right. So here we go with the SNES Tech earnings. Just came out. 94% revenue growth in, first of all, it says record revenue, record gross profit margins. 94% revenue growth in Evolve. Strong cash balance to sustain progress toward profitability. Q2 highlights, revenues increased 36% to 625,000, a record for the company from 459,000 Q2 2024. And that also represents sequential growth from 480,000 last quarter. I think previously they told us their break even is close to 2 million. Evolve rodent birth control product sales grew 94% year over year, now representing 83% of total revenue. Gross profit margin improved to 65%, a record compared to 54%. Net loss, 1.6 million, included 201,000 legal expense. Okay, excluding these non-operational costs, our net loss would have been 1.4 million. So adjusted EBITDA loss continued to improve to 1.4 million compared to 1.5 million in the same quarter a year ago. Let me just check. Last quarter. Okay, it also improved sequentially from 1.5 million to 1.4 million. Balance now, I got a lot of cash. Current cash on the balance sheet as of August 5th is 11.2 million. Does that include what they just raised? Let me see. So operational strategic highlights. Sorry. We delivered another quarter of record revenue and gross margins fueled by the rapid adoption of Evolve product line and disciplined OPEX management, said Joel Fruin, CEO of SNES Tech. Our results reflect the strength of our diverse multi-channel distribution strategy with momentum across e-commerce, city and government deployments, brick and mortar. Okay. Our commitment to growth is matched by a clear on efficiency and profit, by clear focus. I think they're missing a word. Our committed growth is matched by our clear focus on efficiency and profitability, something like that. With more than $6 million in cash at the end of the quarter and an additional $6.3 million gross proceeds, which closed subsequent quarter. Okay, so that's where they get that money. We're well positioned to achieve our break-even. Okay, we are well positioned to achieve our break-even goals and meet our growth potential. We're made focused on delivering sustainable growth and creating long-term value for our shareholders. So they now have 11.2 million cash. I'm not sure how many shares they're at. It would be something like probably roughly 5 million outstanding after this recent raise, I think. So that would put them at maybe a little bit less than half of the market cap is in cash, something like that. So just back of the napkin math. So about $2.40 cash, and you're paying about $3 or so for the stock. All right, we have the webcast over here. Oh, okay. Let's see. Rhett, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Rhett, can you hear that music?
No, I cannot.
You can't. So let me stop the stream and start it again. 1 second. Can you hear it now?
Yeah, I can hear it. You're all good.
All right, let's change this. SNES Tech live earnings call coming up at 5 p.m. Live earnings call at 5 p.m. EST. Live earnings call 5 p.m. EST. Yeah, I don't like it like that. I'll go. Gotta put the dollar symbol in there. SNES Tech. That looks a little better. All right, you know what? Hold on. What am I doing over here? Right, I can't do this without you. Yeah. All right, there we go. That's better. What are these comments? 4.97. Yeah, I was right. Ooh, 5 million. I hit it right on the nail. 5 million shares outstanding. But if burning cash needs to be discounted, I got it. You got it, Kevin. All right. So, all right. How we're doing that? While we wait for that, we're like monitoring some other news here. After hours, a bunch of earnings reports. I wasn't impressed by most of them. Modest beat by Alst, but the revenue guide was in line, and I was like, I wasn't interested. I'm surprised it went up 10%. I mean, they beat on the top and bottom line for the quarter, but their next quarter revenue guide was in line. I didn't think that would be enough. I actually had some trade shares, and I sold it when I saw that, and then so I lost 10% opportunity cost there. But in any case, that's interesting. We'll dig into that a little bit more later. ETH is just absolutely exploding. BZAI out with some news here that's being brought up. That's a big name from the Godfather News in our community, who believes the stock's at an inflection point, and that look at this gap fill today, 341. Whoa. What was the low of day today? 338. Might not get to the 50 DMA at 306. So interesting news out on BZAI. Let me switch to my top picks list for a second. And then Fubo tomorrow morning. Apparently, the internet's all I bought Fubo here in after hours. Apparently, there's some big changes happening at Fubo overnight here. The earnings calls tomorrow morning. New website, new stuff. They're doing stuff with Disney. So, and that's the question, Progressive. That's what we want to hear about. Why they raise so much money? I mean, it seems like they didn't need it. They probably raised cash due to accelerated expansion. So let's see what they say about that. Okay, so these are the stocks on my radar here in after hours right now. It's actually, let me add the ETH. Let's watch ETH just explode. But you know what? I don't even have ETH exposure anymore. I sold all my BTBT today. I need some ETH exposure. Yeah, I can ask questions in the webcast. I can type them in, Magnus? So you guys can put your questions in the... Okay, I'm not on the phone call, but I'll type them in. Okay, so look at this. This ETH is just absolutely going crazy.
and I sold my ETH exposure. Sorry, before we start here in 10 minutes with SNES Tech, I'm like, should I jump into some ETH? Let's see. BMNR is like the... I think I'm going to... I am fine. Let me see if I can finally bring myself... BMNR was a top pick today, up 7%. And I didn't play it, even though it was a top pick. We give like 5 top picks a day. And this is like the only one that I didn't touch for some reason. But you know what? I think it's time. The ETH chart looks like it's ready to absolutely explode. And BMNR to me, I know BTBT is the cheapest from a valuation perspective. I mean, we played it so well, perfectly. At least the advice was perfect. I almost played it perfectly, almost followed my advice perfectly. But in any case, made a ton of money on BTBT this week with the spinoff of Wi-Fi. But here now you see this Ethereum daily chart is just, and you got that executive order from Trump. This thing is gone, man. Holy crap. Makes me want to buy ETHE also. But I just think BMNR is the best way to go on this. I'm going to get a little more BMNR. This chart is just too attractive to me, this Ethereum chart, guys. Sorry, I'm not talking about SNES Tech, but we'll get there. So let me just add a little more BMNR here in after hours. And let me check my position size now. 3.5%. Should I go more, Rhett? What kind of allocation are you comfortable with on BMNR?
Hey, I'm on the phone. Give me just a few minutes.
Of course I sold my BTBT. That was our plan since last week. And we sold it right at the right time. BTBT, we sold it right before Wi-Fi started trading. It was just brilliantly executed. Made a ton of money on it this week. So BMNR, I'm going to buy a little more BMNR because this ETH chart is just absolutely insane right now. And BMNR is proving has already basically established itself at this point as an MSTR of Ethereum. So let's see. Okay, so what am I at now? 5%. That's better. All right, got a 5% position in BMNR. Look at ETH just going parabolic right now as we're doing this show. Wow, that's crazy. So I got to put BMNR up in our top picks list here. All right, sorry I digressed from SNES Tech. We'll get there. Okay, so we got ETH and BMNR. We got Fubo tomorrow morning. We got some BZAI news. We got the ALS earnings. We have MSOS trying to make a major breakout. And now we have SNES Tech. SNES Tech up 3.3% here. So look, there's been a lot of interest. Let me read some of the comments here. So Zach, they probably raised for accelerated expansion. Yes, I can ask the Q&A. Hopefully it just makes me lose hope that they're going to raise cash if this jumps 255. Well, we're going to hear about that, hopefully. If the news for Fubo is positive, then why one of the directors sold 100,000 shares last week? I mean, directors don't need money. I mean, that's how they live. That's how they buy a house. It doesn't mean anything bad. Insider sales, usually not a bad sign. Doesn't mean anything. Discount it. Why all the way? Okay, Pro. Oh, that was bullshit policy. They already expanded to the new facility. They should expand salespeople and marketing by ETH, BMNR School. I'm still holding BT. Hoping I can get back to mid threes tomorrow. And, you know, yes, Galaxy and BMNR are two preferred ways to play ETH. Are Galaxy and BMNR. I think those are the two best ways to play ETH. I agree with that. Comment here from Magnus. I'm in way below this price and sold calls on BTB. BNR chart looks right. BMNR was a top pick today. BMNR, and we put some nice price targets out there for you above the 20. Okay, above the 20 DMA. You see that break over here, and the next target is probably $48. I think $48. And then 59. I put it in the morning note this morning. Let's see what I put in the morning note. In fact, this is a good time for you guys to get a little peek at our morning note here. There's our catalyst section, but as far as the trade idea is BTBT. Yeah, why not? As upset we sold it. It's sell the news day. The only question is when and how high. So basically, we said we suggest selling a few minutes before Wi-Fi opens for trading, or right after trading begins, which was the exact correct advice for those who are position. And I chose to be adventurous. I shouldn't have. After Wi-Fi opens, but based on our experience, BTBT will decline once Wi-Fi opens. Wi-Fi may not open until late in the day, leaving plenty of time for price appreciation as anticipation builds. Okay, so yeah, we totally nailed that. Celsius didn't quite work
All right,
out.
then I'm back.
All right, you're back. BMNR, here we go. Major breakout above the 20 DMA. This is now the master of ETH. 4570 next target, 59 swing target. 4570, 59 swing target. That was in our morning note. Looking at it now, I see the 4570, but okay, anyway. 4570 to 59. Call it 46 to 59. 46 to 59 looks like the next stop for BMNR, especially if ETH breaks up above 4,000, 4,110, 4,112. Got to break that. Okay, then you head to 4,800, and then you'll see BMNR making those moves. So, all right, in any case, we got 4 minutes left. Sorry for all the digression. We want to focus here on SNES Tech. So we've been following the SNES Tech story for, is it 6 months or 7 months, right?
7 months.
7 months, all right. Disclaimer, they are a paid sponsor of the story trading community. So in these 7 months, we basically amplify what they're doing, get the press releases out there, get the conference calls out there. I've interviewed them many times, been there many very good interviews, and the story has taken, and people, and it convinced me too. When I first started with them, I'm like, I'm not buying this stock because they're a client, you know. But then this guy, he impressed me so much, and they've been so honest that I said, you know what, I'm gonna buy it for my retirement account, and I bought a shit ton. I own a lot of this company now in my retirement account. So, you know, it's just major optionality upside. Major. All they have to do is get one, and they already have these smaller municipalities inflecting. But imagine if they get New York City signed, and they said that the tests are going well so far in New York City. I mean, this thing is gone. You know. Now, we don't love that they keep raising all this money. We don't, especially when it appears they don't really need. They're not desperate for money, you know. So why are they raising the money? You know, they already had a runway of over a year before this last raise. So what are they doing? So I guess we'll hear about that. I hope. I have no idea what they're going to say, but we can ask them. Right? We have this little. There we go. We have this little Q&A box. Let me think if I have any questions right now. Okay, let me see. Why did you raise money again if you already had a 1 year runway? I'm sure they're going to answer this, but then what are some other questions I can ask? Guys, put your questions. Yeah, put your questions here in the chat. Don't put it in the Discord. Put it in the YouTube, the private YouTube link, or put it on the X. Why do you raise money again if you already had 1 year runway? What else? Let's see. Like, would a New York City full-scale expansion require a big capital investment? Okay. Would a New York City, and then I'm going to ask, when is the earliest we can flip to profitability? Zach. Okay. I'm going to add these, and then later I'll do how many boxes fit on a pallet. Zach, I love you, but that's boring. Okay, fine. Let's get these big pictures and questions asked first. Are there any active trials that have not been announced? That's an interesting one.
I think each pallet is about $10,000 worth of product.
Yeah, he did tell us that before, so I don't want to bore him with that question. I can't copy and paste the comments. I have to retype these out.
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh my god. Maybe I gotta go to the front end YouTube. Hold on. Where can I see it? Okay, you can get it from the front end on YouTube here. Okay. This was already answered, Zach. Will you ever be confident? It's not about them being confident enough. They said that everyone wants to see for themselves that it's working. That's what he told it. This was just in their latest interview. How do they want to expand with 23 employees? Are they still hiring people from Salesforce and Mark? Why not? Has SBET and BTBT? I don't know. I gotta tell you, I like BMNR and Galaxy the best for ETH. Fubo is doing okay, and Alce, man, I lost 10% in Alce by not holding it. Oh well. All right, it's 5:01. They gotta get started now, and then I'm gonna shut up, and I'm gonna actually. What screen should I show? I'm gonna take my video off for now. And that, what should I show? Should I show the stock chart while they're doing? Okay, here we go.
Good afternoon and welcome to the SNES Tech second quarter fiscal year 2025 financial results conference call. All participants will be in a listen-only mode. Should you need assistance, please signal a conference specialist by pressing the star key followed by 0. Please note that this event is being recorded. I would now like to turn the conference over to Robert Bloom with Lytham Partners. Please go ahead.
All right, thank you very much, operator, and thank you all for joining us today to discuss SNES Tech's second quarter 2025 financial results, and this is for the period ended June 30th, 2025. With us on the call today is Joel Fruent, the company's Chief Executive Officer, and Tom Chesterman, the company's Chief Financial Officer. At the conclusion of today's prepared remarks, we will open the call for a question and answer session. If you are listening through the webcast portal and would like to ask a question, you can submit your question through the Ask a Question feature in the webcast player. Before we begin with prepared remarks, we submit for the record the following statement. Statements made by the management team of SNES Tech during the course of this conference call may contain forward-looking statements within the meaning of Section 27A of the Securities Act of 1933 as amended and Section 21E of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 as amended, and such forward-looking statements provisions of the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. Forward-looking statements describe future expectations, plans, results, or strategies, and are generally preceded by words such as may, future, plan or planned, will or should, expected, anticipates, draft, eventually, or projected. Listeners are cautioned that such statements are subject to a multitude of risks and uncertainties that could cause future circumstances, events, or results to differ materially from those projected in the forward-looking statements, including the risk that actual results may differ materially from those projected in the forward-looking statements as a result of various factors and other risks identified in the company's filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission. All forward-looking statements contained during this conference call speak only as of the date in which they were made and are based on management's assumptions and estimates as of such date. The company does not undertake any obligation to publicly update any forward-looking statements, whether as a result of the receipt of new information, the occurrence of future events, or otherwise. With that said, let me turn the call over to Joel Fruent, Chief Executive Officer. Joel, please proceed.
Thank you, Robert, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today for our second quarter 2025 conference call. As you can see from the press release, we had yet another quarter of tremendous performance highlighted by record quarterly revenue and record gross profit margins and gross profit dollars, which led to another quarter of improved adjusted EBITDA. The adoption of our Evolve rodent birth control solution continues to be a game changer, which has significantly opened up the addressable market opportunity for SNES Tech. We are seeing growth across all channels in our 6-channel strategy. During the quarter, Evolve sales were up an incredible 94% compared to the year-ago second quarter and up 36% sequentially. Evolve now makes up 83% of our total quarterly revenue. While revenue growth is key, we have also dramatically grown our gross profit dollar contributions. a key metric to us achieving cash flow break even. This improvement was due to higher inherent gross margins of our Evolve product line. During the quarter, gross profit margins were 65.4%, up from 54.2% in the year-ago second quarter, and compared to 64.5% in Q1. From a gross profit dollar perspective, we were up 64% compared to last year's Q2. As Evolve sales continue to grow and make up the majority of our overall sales mix, we expect to see continued long-term improvement in gross margins. As we have talked about for some time, Evolve has opened the door to market verticals and distribution channels which our earlier product, ContraPest, simply wasn't suited for. For instance, e-commerce sales, which include Amazon, Walmart.com, TractorSupply.com, and DIYPestControl.com, as well as our own e-commerce sites, are much more suited for the soft-bait form factor of Evolve compared to the liquid solution of ContraPest. E-commerce was up 78% compared to last year and up 18% sequentially, with Amazon clearly leading the way. Overall, e-commerce now represents more than 50% of our quarterly sales, and we don't see any reason for this to be slowing down anytime soon. Another key market vertical more suited for Evolve that is showing rapid growth is brick and mortar retail. During the second quarter, we signed an agreement with Bradley Caldwell, a premier wholesale distributor serving over 8,000 farm, ranch, hardware, and pet supply dealers across the United States. This new partnership significantly expands our national distribution footprint and brings Evolve directly into the hands of rural retailers and independent dealers who serve America's agricultural communities. While coming from a relatively small base, brick and mortar retail sales were up nearly 500% sequentially during the second quarter, with sales of approximately $65,000. Beyond this order with Bradley Caldwell, we have been in discussions with the two largest home improvement chains in the U.S. about carrying Evolve. I always want to caution that the process to carry products on retail store shelves tends to be lengthy, but as you can imagine, in order for even a small region of one of the large home improvement retailers could translate into transformational growth for SNES. Another key market vertical, which has been a key factor in driving growth, has been the city and government verticals, where we currently have numerous trials and deployments ongoing, including New York City, Chicago's Wicker Park, Bucktown, SSA, Baltimore, San Francisco, LA, and the suburbs in Boston. Each of these is a bit unique in their status and approach, but it's fair to say that the results to date we have seen have been very strong in each location. For instance, in Chicago's Wicker Park, Bucktown, SSA, or Special Service Area, they bait boxes with Evolve Rat in alleys behind several major thoroughfares in the neighborhoods. Since inception, they have seen great consumption and, more importantly, significantly reduced rat activity. As a Wicker Park resident noted, we now see the rat activity in a week that we used to see in a day. Consequently, we have received multiple reorders as they expand the program. We are working with the other 54 SSAs as they seek to implement an Evolve program. In fact, we just received an order from another SSA that we will be announcing shortly.
What? I missed that.
And one small interesting note we have observed is that we have actually seen an uptick in the e-commerce orders from the area around Chicago's Wicker Park and Bucktown areas for Evolve, and the SSA has rolled out deployment. Neighbors are clearly excited at the opportunity to control the rat population without the toxins and poisons that pose a risk to many other animals, people, and water supplies. In New York, where they had began deployment in April following the approval in September of last year by the City Council to launch a rat contraceptive pilot program, the Evolve consumption is 100% out in the field. Our team has been in New York supporting the deployment and expect to see continued progress and reorders placed to advance the trial. In addition, we are working with a local distributor to arrange for long-term supply to the city. Between orders during the second quarter to support the trials, as well as reorders from other key municipalities, city and government-related sales grew more than 500% from the year-ago second quarter. The numbers are still relatively small, but with potential full-scale deployment, you can see how the numbers get very big very quickly. Another key distribution channel for which the introduction of a soft bait solution has expanded adoption has been international opportunities. Specifically, during the second quarter, we received a reorder of Evolve to support a Caribbean island. We also are working through regulatory approvals in Australia and New Zealand, where additional launches are planned for later in 2025. We are expecting new and reorders in the coming months from numerous countries where distribution agreements have been signed. All told, we now have agreements with more than 15 countries to support Evolve's growth. Another win that one of the world's largest amusement parks placed a multi-pallet order for deployment after having trialed the products for 9 months. This is very exciting news. With strong performance in many of our key market verticals, I always think it's important to highlight a few areas where the progress has been a little slower than expected, but plans are in place to accelerate adoption. Last quarter, I talked about brick and mortar retail being one of those areas that was a bit slower than expected. As I just reported, we had a record retail quarter driven by the order from Bradley Caldwell for rural retail adoption. We continue to focus on big box opportunities and expect to have news for you in the coming quarter. Another area where the opportunity remains significant, but not yet totally realized, is within agricultural applications. The need within agriculture is huge, with nearly 20% of the world's food supply destroyed due to rats. With rodenticides become increasingly banned or restricted in multiple jurisdictions, such as organic farms, we believe it's only a matter of time before we break through in this important market vertical. Recently, I've worked with a number of ag-related companies to conduct trials in their locations, including sugarcane fields, almond orchards, and granaries. We expect that we will see the breakthrough moment when these large-scale operations will accept the very positive results of what full-scale deployment can mean for their operations to save money. I look forward to positive results in the quarters to come. As I have stated over the past few quarters, SNES Tech today has numerous shots on goal for what I would define as transformational growth. Growth that has the ability to quickly catapult us beyond our revenue break-even point, which, as a reminder, is around $1.5 million on a quarterly basis. This could come from expanded deployment in one of the numerous cities we have trials ongoing around the country. This could come from numerous brick and mortar locations we are in discussions with. This could come from many international countries where we have agreements signed but wait approval for shipment. Or maybe this comes from the integration of a large-scale pest management professional operator to integrate it into their service offerings. At the same time, this is not all about home runs or busts. We have a growing e-commerce business, which represents more than 50% of our sales and is growing sequentially every month. More specifically, Amazon sales are growing at a 10 to 15% month-over-month rate. Traffic on Walmart.com is also growing at a rapid pace, and we expect that. We feel very good about our broad approach to expanding adoption of Evolve, and the results to date are reaffirming our strategies. Let me now turn the call over to Tom to review the financials in more detail. I will then come back to provide some closing comments and address any questions that you might have. Tom?
Thank you, Joel. Let me take a moment to expand on the numbers in the press release and a few of the points that Joel mentioned in his earlier remarks. On the revenue line, total revenue for the second quarter was $625,000, which was an increase of 36% from Q2 of last year and up 29% sequentially. Breaking it down further, Evolve revenue increased 94% and accounted for 83% of our second quarter sales. ContraPest decreased approximately 45% and accounted for 17% of our Q2 sales. While down from the year-ago period, ContraPest was actually up 3% sequentially. There are still a number of loyal ContraPest customers, and there are a couple of states where Evolve is not yet approved, in which ContraPest can address their rodent fertility needs. Looking at it from a vertical breakdown, E-commerce is clearly our largest contributor, coming in at 56% of our overall Q2 sales. Overall, e-commerce was up 78% compared to Q2 of last year and up 18% sequentially. Amazon is going well and is the predominant e-commerce channel right now. Municipal sales, while still a relatively small percentage of total sales, saw a 538% increase from a year ago quarter, driven by new deployments in Chicago and New York. Brick and mortar sales were more than $65,000 during Q2, driven by the large Bradley Caldwell order. In last year's Q2, we had virtually no retail sales. We recognize about $20,000 in international sales during the Q2 from a follow-on order in the Caribbean. As Joel mentioned, we have a few potential significant orders pending regulatory approval, which we expect will be key drivers for us later this year. Other contributors during Q2 were in the areas of agribusiness, commercial, pest management professionals, as well as zoos and sanctuaries. Turning to gross margins and gross profits as a whole, for the second quarter, gross margins were 65.4% compared to 54.2% in Q2 of last year. Looking at it sequentially, gross margins also improved compared to 64.5% in Q1. So you can see we are continually improving our gross margins. Looking at it from a gross profit dollar perspective, gross profit was $409,000 compared to $249,000 in last year's Q2, up 64%. It was also up sequentially. The driver here is Evolve, which has higher margins than ContraPest. As I mentioned last quarter, we are also increasing production capacity to meet future demand. We have officially completed our move into our new, larger facility in the Phoenix area to meet growing demand for Evolve product with new automated capabilities to drive improvement in gross margins. On the OPEX line, operating expenses were up slightly from Q2 of last year, primarily due to what I would define as one-time expenses during the quarter. Excluding the one-off charges, our cost control initiatives are bringing down our operating expenses as we pursue our goal of a reduced cash burn of $1 million per quarter. All told, the higher gross margins and operating efficiencies gained on the manufacturing are expected to move our cash flow break-even level to a little over $1.5 million per quarter. We continue to move closer to that inflection point that many companies and investors are looking for. There is still execution work to be done, but the pathway is clear. Transitioning, our balance sheet is in the best position it has ever been. We ended the quarter with $6.1 million in cash following a successful $4.5 million in warrant exercises that occurred during the quarter, as well as utilization of our ATM facility for which we raised gross proceeds of $3 million during the second quarter. Further, we closed on additional financing of $6.3 million on August 5th through a warrant exercise inducement, providing an operating runway now through the end of 2027 and beyond, based on recent quarterly results. This concludes a series of transactions designed to fully fund our growth plans and our path to profitability. Any further fundraising is likely to be limited to occasional opportunistic ATM open market issuances. We ended the quarter with approximately 3.8 million shares outstanding. The August 2025 warrant exercise would then add an additional 1.5 million shares to that, bringing the shares outstanding to approximately 5.3 million shares. As a result of the warrant inducement transaction that closed earlier this week, there are now two at $5.25 per share, which, if exercised, would bring in more than $11 million. With that, let me turn the call back to Joel. Joel?
Thanks, Tom. Before I turn it over to any questions, I think it's important to take a step back to recognize everything that we have accomplished over the past year or so to put us in the position that we are in today. It was only a year and a half ago that we launched our Evolve Rat product, which was then followed up by our Evolve Mouse solution. Since that time, Evolve sales have grown at an accelerated rate, including 94% year-over-year growth during this quarter. Evolve has changed the game for us by opening doors to key market verticals domestically and internationally. We are increasingly building a defensible market position built on science, regulatory trusts, IP protection, and category leadership. Just as we have shown to date, it is my expectation that we will continue to see adoption expand across our key market verticals and distribution channels, each of which can significantly transform this business. With a large addressable global market that has shown regulatory tailwinds in our favor, a first mover advantage in rodent birth control, a diverse and scalable go-to-market strategy that is producing results, and a lean focused growth strategy which balances revenue growth with operational efficiencies to move the business towards break even, I couldn't be more excited about the position SNES is in today. Please know that we are working hard every day on behalf of our shareholders and really the public at large to suppress rodent populations in a sustainable manner. As always, I thank you all for your interest in SNES. With that, I'm happy to open the call to questions. Robert, let me turn the call over to you to see if there are any questions in the webcast portal.
All right, very good. Thank you, Joel and Tom, for the prepared remarks there. We've got a series of questions here. I'll try to maybe lump them into buckets where appropriate. Starting off here, should we expect incremental improvements to gross margins in the coming quarters?
I think you can, yes, it's Joel. I think you can look at that we expect margins to stay consistent where they're at, and we may be able to see some improvement in the coming quarters as well.
All right, next question here. Is there room to accelerate e-commerce growth with additional digital marketing spend?
Yes, and that's certainly is in the plans, and what we are looking at is that, okay, how can we accelerate not only in e-commerce, but across all of our channels, and what are those things that will give us a good bang for the buck? And so we're really excited about being able to lay out those plans and do that acceleration.
Okay, next question here. Should we expect higher volumes from cities like New York City, Chicago, Boston, Baltimore, LA County, and San Francisco, where the product has been launched?
Well, as you can see across not only the city and government verticals, but others, it usually starts out with a test, a trial, and then they see the results. And once they see the results, then you start to see the increased flow of orders and revenues building. And certainly we believe that across the cities and government agencies is that you're going to be seeing that. You're going to be seeing continued growth as these trials prove out that Evolve is the product that they want to use, and that will give them another tool in their toolbox. So we're expecting good things out of the trials and moving forward with implementation into their regular pest management practices.
All right, great. Next question. What is the potential capacity in terms of dollars of the expanded manufacturing facility?
Well, right now we have the capacity to do, with the one shift we're running and the line we're running on, to do roughly 1 million pounds, which translates roughly to $10 million in revenue. But we're not standing still on that. We're looking to put in place not only, okay, how can we put in additional shifts, but also additional lines. When we had the facility built and organized for us, we have the capacity to put in at least 3 different manufacturing lines. And so we're in the process of taking a look at all those options and what makes the most sense for us, not only short term, but also long term.
All right. I believe Tom addressed this question's prepared remarks, but what is the new basic share count as of today?
Well, yeah, I did cover it, but let me be specific. As of today, just checked, we have 4,724,340 shares outstanding.
All right, very specific there. There are a few questions regarding the recent capital raise. I'll try to maybe summarize here. Are you planning to do more in the future? If yes, can you provide some clearance on why you would need to do any additional capital raises?
Bill, you want to take that?
Tom,
Yep.
that's you.
Yeah. So one of the things that's really been holding our stock back for years now, really, is a financing overhang. We did not have enough cash to confidently bridge to cash flow profitability. So starting at the beginning of this year, we initiated a plan to use warrant transactions to get more than a few months runway. We now have that. We have the cash in hand to convince even the most skeptical that we can bridge to cash flow profitability. And as I mentioned earlier in the call, we have now concluded that program, and so I don't anticipate further financings like that in the near future. Perhaps not ever.
All right, very good. Next question here. Would a New York City full-scale expansion require a big capital investment?
I can answer that. It's a full-scale New York would not require a significant capital investment right away, but what we would do is we would plan on expanding, as I just mentioned before, and to increase our capacity that way. And the capex that we would need in order to do that, to add additional lines, is somewhere in the $300,000 to $400,000 range.
All right. Next question here pertains to sort of just break even and profitability. And again, Tom, I think you addressed this, but talk a little bit about the break even point, both from a cost and a revenue standpoint, and when is the earliest we could flip to profitability?
Yeah, if you look at it right now, when we did our OPEX reductions earlier this year to get our burn rate down, we have said before, and we're holding tight on this, is that our revenue level, in order to get to cash flow break even, is somewhere in that $6.5 million revenue line. That line somewhere in the second part of 2026.
All right, very good. Next question here, talking about the need to, I believe, hire additional folks to sort of meet some of your growth expectations here. Do you need to hire additional people?
Yes, we have been hiring some people, and as we look forward, we're hiring salespeople. We're also putting on manufacturers reps, right, that will handle us with a lot of the retail accounts, trying to do this in the most logical and cost-effective way that we possibly can. Manufacturers reps have existing contacts with a lot of the big box retailers and agriculture retailers. So we're putting in field salespeople that are company people. We're going to expand our field team that goes out and does these field trials. As you can see, we're getting a lot of requests for field trials and assistance. And so we want to make sure that we're properly staffed there. So that's in the plans as well. So yes, as we continue to expand and grow in each of these vertical markets that we've realized and are on board with what we're trying to do, we're going to be able to support those across the board.
All right. Next question here. Are there any active trials that have not been announced?
Well, we have a lot of trials, small and large, that are out there. So I'd have to say there are active trials that have not been announced, but those could be a small scale. The large ones that have to do with the major cities we have out there. Certainly, we have trials that are going on in the agriculture industry, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, that we've not announced on. But we certainly, as time goes on and as we have these trials we'll be relaying that information as we get the results.
All right. There's a few questions here pertaining to the ATM. Is there any, well, maybe more broadly, if there's any definition here about what you would utilize the ATM for on a go-forward basis?
Well, in short, we are not using it right now. It's not active. We have the capacity, but with these recent raises, we have enough cash for right now. So if in the future we find that the stock price surges, volume surges, and there's an ability to bring down some capital, we might. But right now we're seeing that more as a capacity and a potential as opposed to a plan.
All right, very good. Next question here. How long before you are in store with Tractor Supply? An end cap would be perfect.
We totally agree with that, and we hope to have some news on that in the coming months.
All right. Another question here. Can you specify how OpEx will be cut? How much will come out of SG&A versus R&D?
Well, we've already made the cuts that and we announced them last quarter, and they really were a mixture of things where we've insourced some marketing activities, where we've cut down on some of the R&D towards additional species, for example, things like that. So it really was not specifically at either SG&A or R&D. As we move forward, we continue to look at every expense, but we don't have any specific plans to further reduce OpEx. In fact, there may be some areas, as Joel mentioned, such as in sales, where we may want to increase a little bit of investment as our financials allow.
Yeah, and if I can add to that, Robert, it's when we started looking at things, we have requests all the time for other animals and other mammals, and how can we come up with solutions for them? What we said is, like, right now we are focusing exclusively on Evolve Rat, Evolve Mouse, and we're going to focus all of our efforts on that. That doesn't mean that we won't expand into some of these other areas, and some adjacent areas maybe as we go on. But we felt it very important at this time to really put that focus on the products we have and getting them out and into the marketplace. And so that was all part of the plan. And as we go along, we may add things, but right now we're really laser focused, I should say, on the Evolve and making sure that we give it everything that is needed in the marketplace to succeed.
All right, and barring any last minute questions, we'll leave this probably as the last question. You spoke on this, but would you please clarify your statement about marketing through major brick and mortar retailers?
Well, I think what we're referring to there is that, major brick and mortar retailers are interested in our product. We have some discussions that are ongoing. And as I mentioned, we hope to have some announcements on that in the coming couple of months.
All right, very good. I am showing no additional questions here. I think we hopefully hit on everything. Joel, I will turn it back over to you for any closing remarks here.
Yeah, we're very happy with the quarter. We're happy with the year-to-date progress, and we believe our very best months are ahead of us this year. So stay tuned. We've got a lot of things that are in process and other things that are upcoming. So appreciate all of your support and your interest in SNES.
The conference is now concluded. Thank you for attending today's presentation.
Okay, Rhett, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
So, I'm looking at the comments here on the YouTube about the guide and everything, and I think that, the big thing to understand here, again, I think for a company this size, these guys are a good team. IPO Candy says, I think the key thing to understand here is that their guide, I think they're just modeling like a steady growth rate, and not including the impact of, let's say, like if New York City goes full scale, or if they get like Home Depot or Lowe's, or Tractor Supply in the near future. I think they pretty much confirmed that last time I interviewed them. I kind of pinned them to that, and that's when they said, "Yeah, you're right. We could achieve profitability as early as the end of 2025, which is just 4 months from now into Q1." So I think that's when they're like giving their official comments and their canned remarks, right? They're being conservative, and they're basically guiding based on what's in their hand and what the current growth rates are. So when I prod them about all these other shots on goals they have, that's when it's like, yeah, if one of these shots on goals happens in the next few months, then yes, you can get the profitability, end of this year or Q1. I think that's the kind of disconnect that we're hearing over there. I saw that comment in the YouTube about, if they cancel the ATM, the stock will pop. Or I mean, look, the stock's already been soaring, really. So if you cancel the ATM, it's going to pop. It's pretty incredible that they've been able to run this ATM and the warrants and the stock's like gone up 4 or 5 times. So it seems like there's a lot of faith in this management from the investor base, and they've been executing. But I don't love the continual raise. They don't really need it. I will tell you this. I mean, I think they saw an opportunity or see an opportunity here to have the strongest balance sheet in company history, and they just saw it as an opportunity to, be able to completely 100% focus on the business without having to be distracted by, oh, we got to do a capital raise in 6 months or runways. Now they don't have to think about it. They can 100% focus on the business, and I think that's kind of what they're taking advantage of here. Ross is just confirming, their guide does not include all the potential catalysts and the shots on goal. Yeah, it's just basically what's in their hand and the growth rate, from the international stuff that they currently have, from all the retail stuff they currently have, from the municipalities like in Chicago or wherever that's currently like adding another SSA, like little by little, like special service areas. Like that's where they come up with, now we're going to get to 1.5 million a quarter by the second half of the year, right? You throw in any of these things they were just talking about, then you can get the profitability earlier. That's my take on it. Rhett, what was your takeaway?
I mean, pretty much it was the same overall thing. I mean, moving forward, they still have a lot of stuff lined up. I mean, as you guys saw there on the call and all that. So overall, I think it was pretty good. And yeah, the potential for more catalysts to come is like what Ross is saying. I like a lot. So
yeah. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to mention. I'm just looking at the stock. ICHR was alerted in our Discord by Colex earlier today, and it just keeps going. A politician from, I think, was it Debbie Wasserman Schultz? I'm not sure who it was, but there was a politician who bought a stake in ICHR, and they're like, it's the first time a politician has bought a stake in ICHR in like 10 years or something. Making semiconductor capital equipment, and I guess there may be some speculation that they're maybe involved in some of this stuff Trump is trying to get with Made in America. I guess that's what's going on. Look at this move from 13 a couple days ago to 19. Rhett, did he see this? Did he act on this at all?
I sadly did not act on this.
I did not act on it either. I was like, who cares about her? But okay. I mean, I guess people care about her. Anyway, so I think that's it. Unless you have any closing comments on SNES Tech, I think we're done here for now.
No, I think that was pretty much it. I mean, you mainly covered it all, so.
All right, awesome. All right, Fubo's ripping. We got that alert in the Discord from some potential big changes that may be announced tomorrow morning. on the earnings call. And that's it. Thanks for joining, everyone. If you
Did
want
you
to
see
join,
Netflix offers $5 billion for Fubo?
what?
Yeah, that was posted in here. I don't know if that's true or not. Netflix offers $5 billion for Fubo from the Motley
What are you talking
Fool.
about? Wait a
You
second.
scroll up in the trading lounge. You didn't see that? Let's see the time.
Where is
8:53
this?
p.m. CDC.
Wait. Where do you? Is it deleted?
In the VIB trading lounge.
I mean, where? Oh, Netflix offers 5. What? Hold on. Motley Fool, August 7th. That was this morning. That was like 10:30 this morning. It says Netflix is reportedly offering $5 billion to acquire Fubo TV.
Then if you look down here, someone's saying current EV is 1.3 billion, so that would be 5 billion.
Godfather says he thinks it's fake. Fake. Motley Fool. I mean, is it on the Motley Fool website?
I'm about to see. I'm gonna ask for the link.
Motley Fool. The Motley Fool. I mean, anyway, I'm making out on these purchases I made after hours, just on the changes that's happening on the website tonight, and they pre-announced good earnings the other day. So let's see. I'm on Motley Fool. How can I do this? Let me search for Fubo at Motley Fool. Fubo, is there? I'm not really.
I'm looking it up on X. I'm not seeing that.
Where was the source? Who found this?
I'm gonna ask for the link.
All right, it's probably fake. But anyway, that's not why I was in it anyway. They pre-announced a couple days ago, and they have some. It looks like they're launching an entirely new service website right now. In the process of doing that. Netflix offered to buy Fubo. I see where it is on X now. From Cute Girlfriend. Okay, I don't know if she got
that's reliable.
Yeah.
Just looking at the numbers, it doesn't make sense.
Anyway, that's not why I'm in the stock right now. But man, I'm already up a good 13 cents or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'll take some profits over here soon. All right, guys. We'll see you in our Discord community. Head on over to StoryTrading.com if you'd like to join. Take care, everyone.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.